Halfway between Iceland and Norway, lost in the North Atlantic, 18 volcanic islands rise from the sea. The Faroe Islands, 1,400 square kilometers, 54,000 people. Cliffs that drop 600 meters straight into the ocean, mountains that disappear into clouds. Valleys so green they look unreal. And weather that changes every 10 minutes. Most people have never heard of them. Those who have often confused them with the Falklands, or think they're part of Iceland, or Denmark. They're autonomous. Part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but self-governing in almost everything except defense and foreign policy. The name means Sheep Islands in Old Norse, and there are indeed sheep. 70,000 of them, outnumbering people, grazing on impossible slopes, wandering through villages. Their wool was once the island's wealth. Their meat still sustains the population, but the Faroes are not pastoral. They're not gentle. They're volcanic rock thrust up from the seafloor 60 million years ago. Basalt cliffs layered like geological textbooks, waterfalls that fall directly into the sea. Sea stacks standing like sentinels, caves carved by waves. Landscapes so dramatic they look designed. And the weather. The islands sit in the path of every Atlantic storm. Wind is constant, rain is frequent, fog rolls in without warning. The sun is rare. When it appears, people stop what they're doing and go outside, because it might be gone in an hour. The Faroes were settled by Vikings in the 9th century. Before that, Irish monks may have lived here, hermits seeking isolation at the edge of the world. The Vikings found treeless islands, abundant with seabirds, surrounded by fish-rich waters. They stayed, built, endured. The people developed their own language, Faroese. Descended from Old Norse, incomprehensible to modern Danes or Norwegians. Today, the Faroes are changing. Tourism is growing. Fish farming has brought wealth. The islands are caught between preserving tradition and embracing modernity. This is not a tropical paradise. This is not an easy place. This is wind and rock and sea. Green valleys and black cliffs, villages clinging to coastlines, people who've learned to live where most would not. This is the Faroe Islands. Tórshavn, the smallest capital. Population, 14,000. The capital of the Faroe Islands and one of the smallest capital cities in the world. It sits on the southeastern coast of Streymoy, the largest island, protected by a natural harbour. The name means Thor's harbour in Old Norse, the Norse god's harbour. 1,000 years later, the name remains. The old town, Tinganes, is the historic heart, a small peninsula jutting into the harbour, black-tarred wooden houses with turf roofs. Grass grows thick on the roofs, insulating against cold and wind. In summer, the roofs are bright green. In winter, white with snow. The houses are painted red, black, deep brown. Traditional colors, traditional construction. Some are centuries old. Tingens was the site of the Viking parliament, the Lagting, established in the 9th century, and one of the oldest parliamentary systems in the world. Representatives from across the islands would gather here to make laws, settle disputes, pass judgment, democracy, Viking style. The Lagting still exists. It meets in a modern building now, but the tradition is unbroken for over 1,000 years. The rest of Tórshavn is modern. Concrete buildings, a university, a shopping district, cafes, restaurants serving fusion Nordic cuisine. Traditional Faroes ingredients prepared in contemporary ways: fermented lamb, dried fish, seabirds, whale meat, foods that sustained the islands for centuries, now elevated to gastronomy. The harbour is busy: fishing boats, supply ships, ferries connecting the islands. Fishing is still the economy: cod, haddock, mackerel, and fish farming, salmon pens in the fjords. Controversial but profitable. The smell of fish is constant: salt and diesel and the sea. The weather in Tórshavn is typical for the Faroes: unpredictable, rain, wind, fog, occasionally sun. Locals say, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. It's not quite true, but close. The wind is relentless. Buildings are built low, sturdy, designed to withstand gales that can reach 100 kilometers per hour. The people here are practical, reserved, not unfriendly, but not effusive. They've learned not to waste energy on what they can't control, like the weather. They dress in layers, waterproof everything, wool sweaters, sturdy boots. Fashion exists, but function comes first. There's a quiet pride in Tórshavn, pride in self-sufficiency, in maintaining traditions while modernizing, in being Faroese. Not Danish, not Scandinavian, but something distinct, and the language is a marker of identity. Faroese is spoken at home, in schools, on the radio. Danish is taught, English widely understood. But Faroes is what matters. The islands want independence, not violently, not urgently. But the sentiment is there. Denmark provides subsidies, but fish farming has made the Faroes wealthier, self-sufficient. The economic argument for dependence is weakening. Political independence feels possible, eventually. For now, Tórshavn is a capital in waiting. Small, remote, but functioning. A place where ancient traditions and modern life coexist. Where you can attend a parliamentary session in the morning and watch fishermen gut cod in the afternoon. Where the past is not preserved in museums, but lived daily. In the language and the food, and the turf-roofed houses. This is the smallest capital, but it's complete. Everything a capital needs, just smaller, quieter. More connected to the sea and the weather and the reality that this is an island. Isolated, dependent on itself. Múlafossur, the waterfall at the edge. On the western coast of Faroe Island, in the village of Gásadalur, a waterfall drops directly into the ocean. Múlafossur. It's not the tallest waterfall in the Faroe Islands, not the most voluminous, but it's the most photographed, because of where it is. The waterfall falls from a cliff at the edge of the village, plunging into the sea below. The drop is not straight. It cascades over rocks, catches wind, sprays. On windy days, the water is blown upward before it can fall, misting into the air. On calm days, rare as they are, it falls clean, white water against black rock. Gassadala sits in a valley surrounded by mountains. Until 2004, the village was accessible only by foot, a hiking trail over the mountains or by helicopter. 18 people lived there. They farmed sheep, fished, lived in isolation that was extreme even by Faroe standards. Then a tunnel was built through the mountain. A road connected Gassadalur to the rest of Vaga. And everything changed. Tourists arrived. The population grew to 18, then 20, small but stable. The village was no longer dying. The waterfall became famous. Instagram, photography websites. It's the image people associate with the Faroes: green valley, vertical cliffs, waterfall dropping into the ocean. It's real, but it's also curated. The best light is morning or evening. The best weather is after rain, when the waterfall is full, but the sky is clearing. Photographers wait for days to get the shot. Standing at the viewpoint above the village, you see the full sweep of it. The valley behind, impossibly green. The village below, a dozen houses with turf roofs, and the ocean beyond, grey and restless. And the waterfall, white against the cliffs, falling into foam and waves. The cliffs here are basalt, columnar basalt, hexagonal pillars formed when lava cools and contracts. The Faroes are volcanic. The islands formed from eruptions 60 million years ago. Layer upon layer of lava flows. Visible in the cliff faces, each layer a separate eruption. The geology is readable, a history written in stone. The ocean is relentless. Waves crash against the base of the cliffs constantly. Erosion is ongoing. The cliffs retreat millimeter by millimeter, year by year. Eventually, the village will fall into the sea. Not soon, not in any human timescale, but eventually. Seabirds nest on the cliffs. Fulmars, kittiwakes, guillemots. They use the ledges, the crevices, any flat surface. The noise is constant, calling, or squabbling, the sounds of thousands of birds. In summer, the cliffs are white with guano. The smell is overwhelming. The villagers live with the waterfall as background. It's always there, always falling. In winter, it sometimes freezes, a column of ice clinging to the cliff. In spring, when snowmelt is heavy, it roars, but mostly it just falls. Day after day, year after year, indifferent to the attention. The tourists come now. In summer, dozens daily. They park at the viewpoint, take photos, walk down to the village, look around, take more photos, then leave. The village remains, the waterfall remains, the ocean remains. Múlafossur is beautiful, but it's also a reminder of isolation, of persistence, of a village that nearly vanished, saved by a tunnel and a waterfall that happened to be photogenic. Beauty is valuable, but it's also precarious. What attracts attention today might be forgotten tomorrow. For now, the waterfall falls, the village endures, and the ocean continues its patient work of reclaiming everything. Vestmanna bird cliffs, walls of life. On the northwest coast of Streymoy, where the ocean meets sheer rock, rise the Vestmanna bird cliffs, 600 meters tall, vertical, black basalt striped with white. Bird droppings accumulated over centuries. The cliffs extend for kilometers, broken only by sea caves and narrow inlets where boats can enter. The cliffs are alive, not metaphorically, literally. Seabirds nest here in numbers that defy comprehension, hundreds of thousands of them. Fulmars, kittiwakes, guillemots, razorbills, puffins. They cover every available ledge. The cliff face is a vertical city. Tiers of nests stacked from sea level to summit. The noise is overwhelming, a roar of bird calls. Screeching, calling, fighting. The air is thick with birds flying to and from the cliffs. The smell is guano, sharp, acrid, biological, that it coats the rocks. The sea below is discolored from it. To visit the cliffs, you take a boat from Vestmanna village. The boats are small, designed to navigate the sea caves. They enter narrow openings where waves surge and retreat, timing the entrance carefully. Inside the caves are dark, echoing with the sound of water and birds. Daylight penetrates from cracks above. The walls are slick, black, ancient. The caves open into grottos, where the cliffs rise on all sides. The scale is staggering. 600 meters of rock disappearing into fog. Ledges every meter or so, each one packed with nesting birds. The guillemots stand upright, crammed together, eggs balanced on bare rock. Fall off, and the egg is lost. The chick is lost. Natural selection plays out on these ledges daily. The puffins are the most charismatic, small, comical, in with bright orange beaks and feet. They nest in burrows on grassy slopes atop the cliffs. In summer, they're everywhere, flying in with beaks full of fish, waddling into burrows, standing at burrow entrances. Tourists love them. The puffins are indifferent, but puffin populations are declining. Warming seas, changing fish distributions. The sand eels puffins feed their chicks are moving north, following colder water. The puffins remain, but the food is gone. Chicks starve. Breeding success is dropping. The cliffs that have hosted puffins for millennia may not host them much longer. The Faroes have a complicated relationship with seabirds. Historically, they were food. The cliffs were harvested. Men would rappel down on ropes, collecting eggs, catching birds, guillemot eggs, fulmar chicks, puffins. It was dangerous. People fell, died, but the protein was necessary. The islands had little else. Today, the harvest continues, but is smaller, regulated. Puffins are still caught, not for survival, but for tradition. And because they taste good, fishy, oily, rich, it's controversial. Conservationists object, but the Faroes argue it's sustainable. That they've been doing this for 1,000 years without destroying the populations. That sudden declines are from climate change, not hunting. The debate is unresolved and complicated because the Faroes' relationship with nature is not sentimental. It's practical. The sea provides, the cliffs provide. You take what you need, but you don't take more than the population can sustain. It's an old ethic, pre-industrial, and it clashes with modern conservation, which often doesn't account for indigenous or traditional practices. As standing on the boat below the cliffs, looking up at the tiers of birds, you feel the weight of life. The sheer abundance, thousands of birds, tens of thousands, all feeding, breeding, surviving on these cliffs. It's life concentrated, compressed into vertical space, making use of every ledge, every crack. The cliffs will outlast the birds, will outlast humans. They're basalt, 60 million years old. The birds have been here for perhaps 10,000 years, since the end of the last ice age. Humans for 1,000. The cliffs don't care. They simply stand, eroding slowly, providing ledges, existing. The birds are ephemeral by comparison, but while they're here, they make the cliffs sing. With calls and movement and the sound of life happening at scale. It's beautiful and precarious and uncertain, like everything in the Faroe Islands. The villages, clinging to the edge. The Faroe Islands have over 100 villages. Most have fewer than 100 people. Some have fewer than 10. They cling to coastlines, nestle in valleys, perch on slopes that seem too steep for habitation. These are not quaint fishing villages. They're survival strategies, places where people learn to live with wind and rock and sea, where every house placement is deliberate, where tradition is not nostalgia, but necessity. Saksun sits at the end of a narrow valley in northwest Streymoy, population 8. A cluster of turf-roofed houses at the head of a tidal lagoon, surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, and open to the sea on the 4th. The valley is steep-sided. Green grass on impossible slopes, waterfalls cascading down rock faces. Sheep grazing at angles that seem to violate physics. The valley funnels down to Saksun, which sits at sea level, protected from the worst of the Atlantic storms by the mountains. The lagoon is tidal. At high tide, it's full, a lake of seawater, calm and dark. At low tide, it drains almost entirely, leaving sand and seaweed and tidal pools. The drainage is through a natural channel to the sea. The channel silted up in the 8th century during a storm. The village, which had been a fishing port, lost its access to the ocean. The population declined. By the 20th century, it was nearly abandoned. Now it's a museum, sort of. The old church still stands. Black tarred wood, turf roof, tiny windows. It was built in the 19th century, replacing an older church on the same site. Inside, it's dark, simple. Wooden pews, a small altar, no electricity. Light comes from candles and the few small windows. One of the old farmhouses is a museum now, Duvagardo. It shows how people lived in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Turf-roofed houses, peat for fuel, fishing and sheep farming for food. Isolation as a fact of life. Gjogv sits on the northeast coast of Eysturoy, the second largest island. Population 40. The village is named for the gorge. Jogv means gorge in Faroes. A natural cleft in the basalt rock that serves as the village's harbour. The gorge is stunning. A narrow channel carved by the ocean. Walls of columnar basalt rising on both sides, the ocean surging in and out with the tides. At high tide, boats can enter. At low tide, the gorge is exposed, revealing the rock carved smooth by centuries of wave action. The village climbs the hillside above the gorge, turf-roofed houses painted in traditional colours. Red, black, yellow, a small church, a guest house, a few streets. That's it. But the setting is spectacular. The gorge, the cliffs extending north and south, the ocean visible from everywhere. Jogv was isolated until recently. The road connecting it to the rest of Eysturoy was only paved in the late 20th century. Before that, and it was a hiking trail. Supplies came by boat through the gorge. In winter, when storms made the gorge impassable, the village was cut off. They survived because they had to. Today, Jogv attracts hikers. The trails along the cliffs are dramatic. You can walk for hours along the coast, past sea stacks and bird cliffs and grassy slopes dotted with sheep. The trails are not maintained in any formal sense. They're just paths worn by centuries of use. The village has a quiet dignity. It's not trying to be picturesque. It simply is. Everything has a reason. Nothing is decorative. Tjørnuvik sits at the northern end of Streymoy, facing directly into the open Atlantic. Population, about 50. It lies at the end of a steep valley, where mountains drop suddenly into black sand beach and restless ocean. And this is one of the most exposed villages in the Faroes. Storms arrive without warning. Waves crash hard against the shore. The beach is wide and dark, framed by sheer cliffs. Offshore stand Risin and Kellingin, the giant and the witch, two legendary sea stacks rising from the water, jagged and immense. According to Faroes legend, they were Icelandic giants turned to stone by the rising sun while trying to drag the islands away. In reality, they are basalt towers sculpted by centuries of wind and waves. From the village, they dominate the horizon, constant, immovable, watching. Tjørnuvik has no harbour. Boats are hauled onto land. Fishing was always difficult here. Survival depended on sheep farming and cooperation. Houses cluster tightly, sheltered as much as possible from the wind. The church is small, modern, functional. Nothing here is built for comfort. Everything is built to last. ID sits on the northwest coast of Eysturoy, and population about 600, large by Faroes village standards. It lies between steep mountains and the open sea, exposed to some of the harshest weather in the islands. Above the village rises Eiðiskolur, a sheer mountain wall. Below it, the ocean pounds the coast relentlessly. Offshore stand the Eiðiskolur sea stacks, towering columns of rock battered by waves. The wind here is constant, fierce, unforgiving. ID has long been shaped by this exposure. Fishing defined it. So did tragedy. Storms claimed boats and lives. Memorials stand quietly in the village, as reminders of what the sea takes. The church overlooks the water, a place of both faith and mourning. Despite this, ID remains active. There is a school, a sports hall, a harbour. Life continues in full view of the Atlantic's violence. The people stay because this is where they belong. Vidareidi lies at the northern tip of Vidoy, the northernmost settlement in the Faroe Islands. Population about 300. It sits beneath Villingadalsfjall, the highest mountain in the Faroes, rising steeply behind the village. In front of Vidareidi is the open Arctic-facing ocean. There is no shelter, no nearby islands to break the swell. Wind funnels down from the mountains and across the fields. The weather here is among the harshest in the country. The village is stretched thin along the coastline. Houses are low, compact, designed to resist wind. Sheep graze in fields that slope toward the sea. Fishing has always been dangerous here. Boats venture out knowing conditions can turn lethal in minutes. Yet Vidareidi persists. It has a school, a church, a sense of community forged by exposure. When storms hit, people help each other. They always have. Isolation is not loneliness here, it is shared. Funningur sits at the end of a fjord on Eysturoy, population 60. The village is accessible by a single road that winds along the fjord, clinging to the mountainside. At the end of the road, Funningur, and beyond Funningur, nothing. The village is old, one of the oldest continuously inhabited settlements in the Faroe Islands. Vikings settled here, built, farmed, fished. The layout of the village reflects centuries of use. Houses cluster near the shore, fields rise behind them. Their sheep graze on the slopes. Funningur has a particular beauty. The fjord is calm, protected from the open ocean. The water reflects the mountains. The village feels grown rather than built, organic, part of the land. But Funningur is also isolated. End of the road means end of the road. If the road is blocked, you're cut off. And yet, people stay, because this is home. These villages, Saksun, Gjogv, Tjörnuvik, Eidi, Vidareidi, Funningur, are not anomalies. They're the Faroe Islands writ small, each one a response to land that offers little and demands everything. The populations are small and shrinking. The young leave, houses empty, some decay, some wait. But the villages that remain are alive, not preserved, not staged, lived in, endured. They are the soul of the Faroe Islands, and as long as they remain inhabited, the Faroes remain not just a place, but a people. Kalsoy, the island of Tunnel. A narrow island in the northern Faroes, 16 kilometers long, less than 2 kilometers wide, a spine of mountains dropping steeply into the sea on both sides. Population 75. Spread across 4 villages connected by a road. And the road is strange. It passes through 4 tunnels, bored through the mountains because there's no room along the coast. The tunnels are narrow, 1 lane, passing places every few hundred meters. You enter and hope you don't meet anyone coming the other way. The villages are small: Mikladalur, Husa, Sidradalur, Trollenes. Each one a cluster of houses in a valley where a stream meets the sea. Turf roofs, sheep, fishing boats, pulled up on rocky beaches. Life here is basic, practical, focused on what the land and sea provide. And Kalsoy's main attraction, if you can call it that, is the Kalur lighthouse at the northern tip. To reach it, you drive to Trollenes, the northernmost village, park, then hike. The hike is short, but dramatic. You climb a steep slope, following a path marked by cairns. The grass is slick. The wind is constant. At the top, the island narrows to a ridge. On both sides, cliffs drop hundreds of meters to the ocean. The ridge is maybe 20 meters wide. You walk along it, carefully, toward the lighthouse. The lighthouse sits on a promontory. Beyond it, the sea. On both sides, cliffs. Behind, the ridge you just crossed. The isolation is total. The wind here is ferocious. On bad days, it's dangerous. People have been blown off the ridge, died. The hike is closed in extreme weather, but people attempt it anyway. And the view from the lighthouse is staggering. North, the ocean stretches to the Arctic. East and west, cliffs dropping into churning water. South, the spine of Kalsoy, green mountains and black rock. Sea stacks rise offshore. Trollkanu Fingur, the troll woman's finger, a basalt pillar standing alone in the ocean. Birds circle it, waves pound it, it stands. Kalsoy is quiet. Except for the wind, and the ocean, and the occasional car navigating the tunnels. It's the kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own breathing, your heartbeat. The scrape of boots on rock. The people here are few and aging. The young leave, go to Tórshavn for school, to Denmark for university. Some return, most don't. The population is declining. The villages are emptying. At some point, the tunnels won't be maintained. The road will close, and Kalsoy will be accessible only by boat, like it was before the tunnels. And then who will stay? The sheep will stay. They're everywhere, on the road, on the cliffs, in the villages. They're managed technically. They belong to farmers, but they roam freely. In autumn, there's a sheep roundup. The farmers gather them, sort them, shear them, then release them again. It's been done this way for centuries. Kalsoy is a place where nature dominates, where human presence feels temporary. The tunnels are an assertion. We can live here, we can build here. But the wind and the cliffs and the ocean don't care. They were here first. They'll be here after. The lighthouse is unmanned now, automated. A light that blinks on and off, warning ships of the rocks. No one lives there. No one needs to. The light does its job without humans. Yet like so much of Kalsoy, existing, functioning, empty. Tourism has found Kalsoy cautiously, not in waves but in trickles. Travelers arrive by ferry, cameras ready, chasing the same stark beauty that once belonged only to the islanders. Some come because of the lighthouse, others because the island appeared in films and documentaries. briefly pulling it into the global imagination. For a few summer months, the hiking path sees steady footsteps. Then the season ends, the ferry's quiet, and Karlsøy exhales back into solitude. Weather dictates everything here. Ferries are cancelled without warning when the sea turns violent. Fog swallows the mountains. Winter storms cut the island off for days at a time. Supplies run low, plans dissolve. The people who remain understand this rhythm. They store what they need, repair what they can, and wait out what they cannot control. Patience is not a virtue on Karlsøy. It is a requirement. And yet, there is a stubborn beauty in its endurance. Grass clings to impossible slopes. Seabirds return each year to the same cliff faces. The lighthouse continues its silent blinking, indifferent to whether anyone is watching. Karlsøy does not try to attract or impress. It simply exists. Narrow, wind-beaten, resilient. A reminder that some places are not meant to grow or modernize. Only to persist at the very edge of the world. Mykines, the island at the edge. West of Vaga, separated by a narrow sound with currents so strong they can flip boats, lies Mykines, the westernmost island in the Faroes, population 10, in winter often fewer. It's the most remote inhabited island in the chain, and the most difficult to reach. The ferry from Vaga runs only in summer, only when weather permits. The crossing takes 45 minutes through water that's rarely calm. The dock at Mykines is a small concrete pier at the mercy of waves. Landing is an art, timing the swell. The ferry doesn't dock, it pulls alongside and passengers jump. Sometimes the ferry can't land, it turns back. You're stuck on Vaga, or stuck on Mykines, whichever is worse. The island is a ridge, mountains along its spine. Valleys dropping to cliffs on both sides, and the village, if you can call it that, sits in the only flat area, a small valley at the eastern end. Turf-roofed houses. A church, a few buildings, that's it. Mykines is famous for puffins. The island has one of the largest puffin colonies in the Faroes, tens of thousands of them. They nest in burrows on the grassy slopes, in crevices on the cliffs. In summer, they're everywhere. The air is full of them. The sound of their calls, a low growling groan, echoes across the island. To see the puffins, you hike to the western end of the island. The trail follows the ridge, climbing steeply. The grass is sheep-propped, slippery. The wind is relentless. The trail is exposed. On both sides, cliffs drop to the ocean. You walk carefully. People have died here, blown off the trail, fallen. At the western end is Mykines Olmur, a small islet connected to the main island by a footbridge. The bridge is old, wooden, swaying. It spans a gap where the ocean surges below. Cross it carefully. Don't look down. The islet is where the puffins are most concentrated. They nest in the grass, in the rocks. They stand at burrow entrances, unbothered by humans. You can get close. Within meters, they don't flee. They're used to people. or indifferent. It's hard to say which. The lighthouse on Mykines is automated. The lightkeeper's house is abandoned. The last keeper left in the 1970s. Now it's empty. Windows broken, roof sagging. The sea will reclaim it eventually. Standing on Mykines at the western edge of the island, you are at the edge of the Faroe Islands. Beyond is ocean. The next land west is Iceland. The next land southwest is Scotland. You're on the edge of the edge, and it feels like it. The people who live on Mykines year-round are few and committed. They farm sheep, catch fish, maintain the buildings. In winter, when the ferries don't run, they're isolated. Supplies are brought by helicopter. Medical emergencies are evacuated by helicopter. If the weather is too bad, you wait and hope. Tourism has brought money. In summer, hundreds of tourists visit daily. They hike to the puffins, take photos, buy souvenirs, then leave. The island takes their money and endures their presence. But it doesn't change, can't change. There's nowhere to build hotels, no room for expansion. Mykines is what it is. Small, remote, limited. The puffins are declining here too. Warming seas, shifting fish populations. The same story as everywhere. The colonies are smaller than they were decades ago. Breeding success is lower. The puffins may leave Mykines. And if they do, the tourists will leave too. And then what? Mykines without puffins is just a remote island with 10 people and a lot of sheep. Beautiful, yes, but beauty doesn't pay for helicopter supply runs. For now, the puffins remain. The tourists come, the islanders endure, the ferry crosses when weather allows. And Mykines sits at the edge, holding on to tradition, to isolation, to a way of life that's becoming harder to justify and harder to leave. Fossa, the double cascade. On the eastern coast of Streymoy, visible from the main road, Fossa drops down the mountainside in two distinct tiers. "140 meters, the tallest waterfall in the Faroe Islands. But it's not one waterfall, it's two, connected, stacked. The upper cascade drops first, waterfalls maybe 40 meters, crashes onto a ledge of basalt. Pulls briefly, then the second drop. 100 meters straight down. The water hits rocks at the bottom, explodes into mist. Then flows as a stream toward the ocean. From the road, Fossa looks like a white ribbon against dark rock. The mountain behind it is steep, green in summer, white in winter. The waterfall is constant, fed by rainfall and snowmelt from the plateau above. It never stops, never dries. In drought, rare in the Faroes, it thins to a thread. In heavy rain, it roars. The access is easy, too easy perhaps. You park on the side of the main road, walk 50 meters. There it is. No hiking, no effort. The waterfall is just there. Visible, accessible. It's made Fossa popular. Tour buses stop, people photograph it from the viewing area, then leave. But if you walk closer, the scale becomes clear. The waterfall is taller than it looks from the road. The sound grows, a constant thunder of water hitting rock. The mist reaches you, cold, fine, soaking. The rock around the base is black basalt, slick with water and moss. The double drop is what makes Fossa distinctive. Most waterfalls are single plunges. Fossa pauses. The water collects on the ledge between the two drops. It's brief, seconds, but visible. The cascade splits, recombines, then falls again. It's a stutter in the flow. A geological accident that creates rhythm. The basalt here is layered, horizontal strata visible in the cliff face. Each layer represents a separate lava flow from volcanic eruptions 60 million years ago. The layers are hard and soft in alternating bands. The soft layers erode faster. The hard layers jut out, creating the ledge where the waterfall pauses. In winter, Fossa partially freezes. Ice forms on the ledge. Icicles hang from the upper tier. The second tier keeps flowing. The volume and force prevent complete freezing. But the ice builds up around the edges, creating sculptures of frozen water. The waterfall becomes half liquid, half solid. It's beautiful and temporary. When rain comes or temperatures rise, the ice melts. The waterfall returns to its liquid state. The area around Fossa is sheep pasture. The grass is bright green, cropped short by constant grazing. Sheep wander near the waterfall, unbothered by the noise, drinking from the stream at the base. They've been here as long as the waterfall, longer. In terms of domestication, the waterfall doesn't care, neither do the sheep. There's no village at Fossa, no settlement, just the waterfall, the road, the mountain. It's a place people pass, stop briefly, photograph, then continue. The waterfall doesn't need humans. It exists regardless. Water falling down rock. Gravity and geology, nothing more, nothing less. But it's become a symbol. Fossa appears on postcards, in guidebooks, on tourism websites. It represents the Faroe Islands, the dramatic landscape, the constant rain turned into beauty. The vertical world where water doesn't pool but falls, always falls, back to the sea. The Faroe Islands are not easy. The weather is harsh. The isolation is real. The history is difficult. Centuries of poverty, of dependence, of young people leaving and not returning. But the islands endure because the people are stubborn. Because the landscape is stunning. Because there's something here that exists nowhere else. A culture, a language, a way of living that's adapted to wind and rock and sea. The Faroes are changing. Tourism is growing. Fish farming has brought wealth. Independence from Denmark feels possible. The future is uncertain, but maybe hopeful. But the core remains: the turf-roofed houses, the sheep on impossible slopes, the cliffs and the waterfalls and the sea. The language spoken by only 54,000 people worldwide. The traditions, whale hunting, the seabird harvesting, that outsiders condemn but locals defend. The Faroe Islands are not trying to be liked, they're trying to survive, to maintain identity in a world that wants everywhere to be the same. To be Faroes, not Danish, not Scandinavian, but something distinct. The weather will not improve, the cliffs will not become less dramatic. The ocean will not calm. The islands will remain remote, difficult, beautiful. And the people will remain, fewer perhaps. But here, because this is home. And home is worth the wind and the rain and the isolation. This is the Faroe Islands. Hidden, dramatic, uncompromising. A world unto itself. At the edge, always at the edge, and enduring. To stand here is to understand scale, not human scale, nature's. Clouds move faster than you expect. Light breaks through in sudden, cathedral-like beams. Then vanishes just as quickly. One moment the islands feel welcoming, almost gentle. The next, the Atlantic reminds you who holds the power. Life at the edge demands respect. And the Faroese have learned not to fight their environment, but to live within its terms. Perhaps that is the quiet lesson of these islands. Endurance is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is built day by day. In harbors, repaired after storms. In children taught an ancient language. In boats launched despite uncertain seas. The Faroe Islands do not promise comfort. They promise reality, and as the world accelerates towards sameness, places like this matter more than ever. Steady, rooted, and unwilling to drift. What survives here is authenticity. There is no excess, no illusion of control. Only a clear understanding that survival depends on cooperation, resilience, and memory. Generations have carved lives from these cliffs, reading the weather like scripture, trusting the sea while never underestimating it. Modernity has arrived, yes, but it bends around tradition rather than replacing it. And long after trends fade and borders shift, The Faroes will still rise from the North Atlantic, green summits breaking through mist, seabirds wheeling above restless water. Remote yet connected, fragile yet enduring. They remain what they have always been, a reminder that even at the very margins of the world, life does not merely persist. It adapts. It belongs.